I've seen super rookies do insane things in the past when they first step foot in the NBA. But man, never in my entire life have I seen a rookie dominate like this on both ends in just 3 minutes of action. So here's Steph Curry kicking the ball out to Andrew Wiggins, and despite how far he is in closing out, this alien with an 8-foot wingspan was still able to close the gap and block his shot away. Minutes after that, here's this 7'4" kid once again crossing Wiggs, then faking him out of his socks before dropping this smooth jumper. Then, in the very next possession, he just powered his way through against the tough defense of Klay and ended up getting an and one. Now, moments later, his rampage continued as he swatted away Klay's three-point attempt, leaks out on the other end, and just look at how he toys with the Golden State Warriors here as if he's playing against a bunch of high schoolers. Lastly, just check out how he keeps in step with Andrew Wiggins here as he completely locked him up. And instead of running toward the rim and using his height to score, this dude just casually walked in a three-pointer in transition to round up this ridiculous one-man show. Now, if my math serves me right, Victor Wembanyama tallied 10 points and 3 blocks in just around 3.5 minutes or so. Man, oh man. I mean, if I was there in that game, here's what I would tell Steph and his crew.
Stop it. Get some help.
Folks, the Victor Wembanyama hype is not just real. It's very, very scary. Real. And from the way he's dominating so far, it looks like this kid is going to take the NBA by storm in no time. I mean, look at this graphic right here. So, in the last 4 preseason games of Wemby, he averaged 19.3 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 1.5 assists, along with 2.8 blocks and 1 steal on 50.9% shooting from the floor under just 21 minutes of play. Now, at first glance, this stat line seems to be pretty average for a player like Wemby, but when I checked the entire history of preseason, here's what I found out. Although the sample size is not that big, because he's just played 4 games, his 19.3 scoring output actually ranks second all-time in preseason scoring, which only lags behind Michael Jordan's 20.2 points per outing. And if you take a good look at the rest of the names in this list, Wemby has fared better than some of the most lethal bucket getters in the history of the sport, like Kevin Durant, James Harden, Allen Iverson, Luka Doncic, and Steph Curry. Now, if you're not impressed by that, then here's where things begin to look a bit more freaky for this kid. If you stretched out those numbers across 36 minutes, Wemby would have averaged a whopping 33.2 points while logging in 4.7 blocks a ball game. I mean, that's all-star numbers for a kid who's just starting out in the league at 19. Now, the Spurs are just getting their season started, and a lot can happen during the course of an NBA season. But in these first few games, the kid from France has totally exceeded the expectations set around him and delivered as advertised. I mean, here against the Mavs, Wemby just pops out and shows his range as he knocks down this 3 to score his first basket in the NBA. Then, in this little handoff action, Wemby once again drilled this three-pointer from a tough angle. Now, a 7'4" guy splashing down a 3 is certainly quite a spectacle to see. But what's really impressive here is the fluidity of his shooting motion. Like how many 7-foot-plus players in NBA history have a sweet, smooth shooting stroke like he does. Now, after showing off his absurd skills from long range, Wemby then showcased his length in this pick-and-roll play as he just jumped out of the building to get this one through. And when the Spurs needed a big basket, Wemby just took over by hitting this off-the-dribble 3 with a hand in his face. But what really impressed me the most was this play right here. So after Trey Jones grabbed the board, he looked up ahead and saw Wemby leaking out. He then threw an on-point pass to Wemby. And if he's settled deep like this in the paint, it's most likely going to end up as a sure 2 points, because there's just no way you're going to stop a guy his size from this position. Though Luka spoiled Wemby's debut by having a stellar performance of his own, Luka had nothing to say but kind words and praise for the 19-year-old kid.
Honestly, it was great. He came off the bench. It was his first NBA official game, and it was pretty amazing. Like I say, I remember my first game, I was pretty nervous, but he didn't look like so. he's gonna be even better. You know, he's gonna get better a lot.
Why do you feel like he played with so much poise tonight?
I mean, I saw him practice. Every day in practice, he does this stuff. Like I said, from day one when I saw him when we started camp to this day, he improved a lot. So he's a great kid. He's working hard. Listen to other guys what they have to say.
Now, after falling short in his debut, Wemby and the Spurs would go on to take the Rockets next. But a few days before that matchup took place, the newest $86 million man of the Rockets fired some spicy shots directed at Wemby to play mind games on him. See, when Dillon Brooks is asked about his thoughts on Wemby, Brooks quickly brushes off the question and says, "He's just tall. That's really it." I mean, we all know that Brooks is no stranger to things like this, as he has a reputation for talking trash and eating up his words later on. Now, if we're talking about other rookies here in this instance, I think most of them would not handle the pressure after being talked to like that, and they probably would just choke during the game. But see, we're talking about Victor Wembanyama here, and right from the get-go, he let Dillon Brooks know that he's not just some 19-year-old kid he could bully around. I mean, in the very first possession of the game, Wemby went full Black Mamba mode with this Kobe-esque fadeaway on top of Şengün. Then, moments later, he showcased that pterodactyl wingspan once again as he caught this lob and slammed it right through. Now, when the third quarter opened, Wemby didn't waste time as he attacked the rim and caught an and-one opportunity in traffic. But out of all things he did against the Rockets, these back-to-back plays were really his strong response to Brooks' comments. I mean, just check these out.
He's going to pass the ball out to the corner. There you go. Wembanyama will stop him. Well, they have a system. On the drive. Oh, my goodness!
And when they needed a crucial stop, there was Wembanyama once again to save the day for the Spurs by blocking not just one, but 2 shots in a row to seal the game for good. In that game, Wemby racked up monster numbers: 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks, while shooting 36.8% from the field and 87.5% from the line. I mean, based on his performance so far, Wemby is looking like an all-star and a Defensive Player of the Year candidate with the way he's dominating on both ends. Not to mention that he's already bagged the Rookie of the Year award in my view, as long as he stays healthy throughout the course of the season. In those 3 games, Wemby averaged 15.7 points, 7.3 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 2 steals, and 1.7 blocks, while shooting 44.7% from the field. And when you stretch those numbers to 36 minutes, Wemby would have averaged almost a double-double of 20.9 points and 9.8 rebounds, along with 2.7 steals and 2.2 blocks on 44.7 shooting. Those to me are freakish numbers, or should I say alien type of numbers. And with this said, I think we can all agree that Victor Wembanyama is not just here to take a small part in the NBA, but clearly this 19-year-old 7'4" kid is built to take over.